There are millions of protein bar brands out there, but you as a consumer need to have enough understanding of which protein bar brands are going to work for you in terms of your budget and your goals. So in this video, I'm going to try 12 different protein bars and give each bar a rating. All ratings will be out of 5. And so the categories are taste, texture, appearance, packaging, protein content, fiber content, calorie content, total fat content, saturated fat content, carb content, added sugar content, overall nutrition balance. And so these are all the factors that will account for a particular rating. I'm honestly so hungry, and this is the first one. I have heard a lot about this protein bar. It's Barebells. The flavor is cookies and cream. So let's try it out. Holy shit. All right, I'm done with this video. 5 out of 5. This wins. The score for this is 4.2 out of 5. The reason why this has a little bit lower score than it appears, because it only has about 3 grams of fiber, but honestly, the taste, it's all about this taste, okay? The next one we have is the Built Puff Bar. Let's see what the hype is about. When I feel the packaging, it feels squeezable. And the flavor here is cookie dough chunk. Oh, God. Why is this so stretchy? I don't know if I like it. The score for this one is 3.35 out of 5. I think there are a couple of things that are going on in terms of the rating. It doesn't have any fiber content, so it gets a 0 out of 5 in terms of that. Then it also has 8 grams of added sugar, particularly this one. So it only gets 1.5 out of 5. And so there are a couple of issues that this bar has. So, I mean, that's the honest, personal, maybe subjective review of this. The subjective in terms of the taste too. So taste, I gave it 2 out of 5 or 2.5 out of 5. And for texture, I gave 3.5. So those are subjective, but there are other objective things like protein, fiber, and fats, added sugars that really go into the rating. So this one, it's not the best. The next one is Quest. Okay, so I know how Quest looks like, okay? It just looks like a block of blob. So comparing Barebells to this, Barebells would win in terms of how it looks like, because look at this. Oh, okay. It's a good taste, but the texture is just too hard. But it's not bad. The Quest protein bar gets a 3.8 out of 5. There are a couple of reasons. The first reason is that the taste is there, but it's decent. It's not too bad. It's not too good. And so the taste portion gets 3 out of 5, but it has 13 grams of fiber. With this amount of fiber, you can complete your daily requirement of fiber intake. So it gets a 5 out of 5 for fiber, but the taste is 3. And then the appearance and the texture too, like it just looks processed. Now I have had Quest for years, like this past 16 months, I have been living on Quest as my snack bar because you can get it really cheap from Sam's Club. 3.8 is actually not too bad. If your goal is to increase your fiber intake, Quest might be the way to go. Next up is our TikTok famous David bar. And the macros on this one is just surreal. 150 calories, 28 grams of protein. Who made this? Flavor is salted peanut butter. So let's compare the Quest. Quest, David bar. I feel the salt. I feel the peanut butter. I think it's much better tasting than Quest. You get, when you bite it, you get this crunch of, I believe, peanut butter. So the score for David bar is 3.85. There are a couple of reasons why it didn't cross that 4.0 mark. Is because it doesn't have any fiber. It has 0 grams of fiber, and everything else looks amazing. I would say, like, in terms of protein, if I could give it 6 out of 5, I would, because I don't know how can you pack so much protein in 150 calories. Next one is our Gorilla bar. So this is from Gorilla Mind, and I have only had the pre-workout drinks from Gorilla Mind. But I'm excited to try this birthday cake flavor. But sprinkles are falling out all over my desk now. I have to clean it up. But here's what it looks like. It's hard. Oh, okay. No, I don't know. I don't know about this one. But it does taste like birthday cake. But for me, it almost tastes like biting into a Play-Doh. The Gorilla Bar gets, sadly, 2.15 out of 5. And there are a lot of things to talk about this bar. The first is the calorie content. It gets the rating for calorie content 2 out of 5 because it is 270 calories. It doesn't have any fiber, so it gets 0 out of 5. Some other things are 32 grams of carbs, and the rating is 1 out of 5. And the next thing is added sugars. It has 15 grams of added sugars, so it gets 1 out of 5. None of these are like truly bad bars. They just fall in a particular spectrum. You could really use these bars to your advantage in particular settings. So if you are a higher metabolic rate person, so if you are burning like 4,000 calories, right, and you are an athlete, yeah, Gorilla Bar might be good for you because it has 15 grams of added sugars. It has 270 calories that will keep you full throughout your workout, and it has 20 grams of protein. So none of these bars are really bad, but it's just that what bar is going to help you achieve the goals you have. Next one we have is the Cliff Builders protein bar. This is the chocolate mint. And it's thick. I think it's like a dumbbell. Like you can actually start curling. Like it's thicker than most of them, honestly. Like the size of it is massive. It's hard. That was a hard bite, but what it looks like inside. This tastes really good. I love the taste on this. It is as close of a taste of deliciousness to the Barebells. The story with Cliff Builders is like remember back in the day when you were younger, you're trying to impress this 10 out of 10 person. Eventually you got them on track, but then you dug deeper into their personality, their lifestyle, and you initially thought they were 10 out of 10, but then you started thinking they're like 4 out of 10. Same is the story with Cliff Builders. Cliff Builders gets 3.05 because of a couple reasons. The reason why it gets 3.05 out of 5 is because the first reason is it has too many calories. This little puppy has 280 calories. I mean, it's thick. It lives up to its thickness, right? I mean, if it's a little bit bigger, it has to have a lot of calories. But there's also a couple things going not well for this bar. Added sugars, 17 grams of added sugars in this. Saturated fat is also 6 grams, which is a little bit on a higher side. But compared to the calories, I think it's moderate. The next thing is the fiber content. It is 3 grams. Could have done better with the amount of calories this bar has. And then lastly, the carb content. It has 32 grams of carbs. But I mean, if it's a higher calorie bar, it might just have a lot of carbs, right? So again, with Gorilla Bar and Cliff Builders bar, story is the same. If you are someone who metabolizes a lot of food quickly, these bars might be just for you if you like the taste. The taste of Cliff Builders versus Gorilla Bar, I would say Cliff Builders win, but it's also not a fair competition because the flavor for Gorilla Bar is birthday cake, but the flavor for this bar, the Cliff Builders bar, is chocolate mint. The next one on our list is the RXBAR, and I hope that's how you pronounce it because I don't know how to pronounce most words, so I guess it's chocolate sea salt. So looks like, kind of looks like a date that's been compressed into a bar. Taste is actually really good. I like the taste. It's very sticky, so you have to chew 30, 40, 50 times to get it down. It's cool how they give you exactly what they add in this. So if you are a person who likes to be minimalistic with their ingredients, I think this is a great bar. This is 3.7 out of 5 because on the texture, it is really sticky. So you have to chew it multiple times to get it down. So that's the reason why it has the lowest points in terms of texture. And I gave it 2.5 out of 5. But that's the only thing. I think it tastes really good. It tastes natural. But it's just that sticky part. Like you will feel the stickiness on your teeth. Like The next bar on our list is the Kind bar. Flavor is caramel, almond, and sea salt with almonds. I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit higher on fat, but I haven't seen the macros just yet. So I like tasting the bar first compared to exposing myself of macros first because I just don't want to bias myself. Okay, hard. I think when the bar looks like it has some nuts in it and it's hard and it tastes hard, then it's justified. But when just the bar is just hard and it looks like it was made in a factory, right? For me, I lose the appetite. But this one tastes great. Tastes amazing. 5 out of 5 on the taste, honestly. Kind bar gets 3.55 out of 5. It's a great tasting bar, but again, it's not a protein bar, rather a fat bar, because it has about 15 grams of fat in this and only about 6 grams of protein. But there again, if you are someone who follows a, let's say, low carb diet and maybe like a sub caloric keto, right? Keto diet, but not really keto, I think this might be a great bar for you. The reason because there's still 4 grams of sugars added. So it's not entirely a keto bar, but it's a really low calorie, like a low carb bar, okay? Because it has only 16 grams of carbs. The plus points of this bar is it tastes great, it's hard, and is justified because it has a lot of almonds in it. And the fact that it only has 4 grams of added sugars, I think it's a great overall bar for someone who is vegetarian or someone who likes to follow a really low carb diet and needs a snack. Next one I'm going to try is one. It feels a little hard, but anyways, so this is what it looks like. I mean, it looks decent, right? Compare it to, I would say Quest, a little bit similar, but I think this looks much better. Like it looks clean. So let's try it out. Definitely, you have to work your jaw for this. I think it tastes really good. It's kind of biting into a really hard brick, but once you bite it, it crumbles. One protein bar gets 3.45. I think it's a great tasting protein bar. The only thing that's not going for this protein bar is the texture, because once you bite into it, it just doesn't feel right. But then when you keep chewing it, then when that taste registers in your brain, that's when you know it's a great tasting protein bar. But that first bite, and I'm assuming you're taking about 20 bites of this to finish the bar, so it's really hard to chew at first, but then when you keep going, you realize it's a great tasting protein bar. The other thing that's not going for it is the saturated fat. So with 230 calories, it has 7 grams of saturated fat. It's kind of on a higher end. Like compared to the last bar we compared, the Cliff Builders bar had about 6 grams of saturated fat, and it was 280 calorie bar. This is 230 calorie bar with a saturated fat content of 7 grams. So a little bit on the higher side. It could easily make it to top 5. Our next bar is Think Delight protein bar. And it says it's keto, and it only has 10 grams of protein. And it looks crumbly. So I'm assuming when I bite it, it's going to crumble in my mouth. It's nice and crunchy. Maybe just reminds of the pie crust, at the end when you eat a pie. And it wasn't that crumbly. Like it was kind of everything was coming nicely together in my mouth. So Think Delight gets 3.3 out of 5. And the main reason is because it is again a fat bar. It has 9 grams of saturated fat and 13 grams of total fat. Requirements for saturated fat for an average person is about 10% of their caloric intake. So for 2,000 calories, you're looking at about 20 grams of saturated fat, I believe, if I did that math correctly. But you are getting like 50% of your saturated fat for the day from this one bar if you're eating this bar daily. So I think that's one of the concerns. If you are following a keto diet, or if you like to follow like a low carb-ish diet, because it also has about 9 grams of carbs. If you're that person, this could be a great bar. Comparing this to Kind bar, they're both low carb bars, but specifically the Think Delight one is your keto-ish or more towards keto than the Kind bar. So just those comparisons are important when we're talking about particular diets and what people like to follow. It also has 10 grams of protein, so it has higher protein than the Kind bar. For most people, if they're just looking to kind of get their macros in, and if they're in like this keto-ish phase, then this bar is for you. Second to last one is the No Cow bar. It's the chocolate peanut butter cup. Looks delicious. I don't think I prefer this taste, but overall the taste and the texture are kind of like weird for me, because when I bite into this, it reminds me of the protein bars that we had like a decade ago. So when you bite it, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if it's going to be crumbly. You don't know if it's going to just blend into your mouth properly, or you just don't know. You will have to keep chewing it. So I had no expectation of any of that. But when I bit into it, it almost felt like it was just going to melt in my mouth, but it didn't. No Cow protein bar gets 3.85, and I'm surprised it got a lot of ratings, because honestly, it's not the best tasting protein bar, but it has certainly the ability to be in your homes because of these following reasons. The first reason is it has 14 grams of fiber in this bar. So it's close to Quest in terms of the fiber it has. The next thing, it has 20 grams of protein in 200 calories of this protein bar. I don't think this is too appetizing for me, but for some people it might be. It claims to be made from plant protein, and it's dairy free. So if you are someone who is lactose intolerant, and if you're someone who follows a vegan diet, or just for religious reasons you're just vegetarian, this might be a great protein bar for you. The last one on our list is Aloha chocolate peanut butter chip bar. There's also a plant-based protein bar, and I could see some things inside, maybe chocolate chips, something like that, but let's try. That's much better tasting. Compared to the No Cow, this is much more soothing in terms of taste. The texture is softer. So Aloha gets 3.73 out of 5. And there are a couple reasons why it scores a little bit higher compared to all other bars, but it scores a little bit lower compared to No Cow. So first of all, the protein. Compared to No Cow, this bar has 6 grams lower protein. So it only has 14 grams of protein, but it has 10 grams of fiber. And then the texture and the appearance, right? So it doesn't look the best, but when you taste it, it's really good. And lastly, the saturated fat is a little bit higher compared to other bars, but or total fat is a little bit higher. It's 12 grams of fat, but that's what you would expect for like plant-based bars, because they try to compensate for the lack of protein with other macros. So compared to No Cow, this might be a little bit subpar, but depending on how you view this bar, this might be your primary bar. Factors are veganism, vegetarian diet, plant-based type of like variations, So those are some of the factors that you might consider as a person. I hope you liked this video. I hope it gave you enough sense of clarity of which bars to choose for your personal needs and goals. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.